This is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV, with the Dean of Sports, Tim Staudt, and Steve Goff. Now, from the mobile Duckett Brothers Distributing Studios at the stadium, this is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show.
Coming to you from the studios of the Lansing Sports Network, this is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, brought to you by Price Right RV on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and 1240 WJIM, Lansing's Big Talker. Let Price Right RV show you how to experience all Michigan has to offer in a new RV. Fall is here. Still time to get out and enjoy the outdoors. Visit Price Right RV in DeWitt on Old 27 and PriceRightRV.com. Don't plan your vacation, own your vacation with a new RV from Price Right. See Doug and his team and you tell them we sent you. I'm your host, Steve Goff from the Lansing Sports Network, joined by the longest tenured sports broadcaster in the state, the legend, Tim Staudt. You can catch him on Staudt on Sports weekdays from 10 to 1. Also, MSU grad and lifelong Spartan fan Alexandra Jaiwook, and the man holding it all together back at the ranch behind the glass, Brock Palmbush. Engineer Tim is with us in our mobile studios, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. They never drop the ball. All right, here we go. Live at Meyer Fan Fest, Munn Field. Alexandra, Tim, Spartans are 3-4 after week 7. In a season where it seems the only thing that's been consistent is MSU scoring quickly and early in each and every game, and playing well enough to stay in the game or even lead at halftime, and then kind of watching the bottom drop out in the second half. MSU surprised Indiana in the first half, but as we know, it didn't necessarily turn out the way we would like it last week. Tim, start us off with your thoughts on what you witnessed last Saturday.
Well, I thought Michigan State played very hard. Like you say, they got off to a good start. They had a 10-7 lead. I thought they did a terrific job of keeping Indiana's offense off the field. The problem was when they were on the field, they scored every single time they had the ball. They never punted. They completed 24, 28 passes. But watching Indiana today against UCLA, the last two teams that beat Michigan State, Indiana has absolutely crushed them. Like you told me what the last score was, 56-6.
Yeah.
They've scored virtually every time they've had the ball in that game. So, I mean, look, it was a 25-point win. People said Michigan State's offense was better, and statistically to some degree it was. But if you only score one touchdown, you can have the greatest stats in the world. But you're not going to win scoring 13 points, and you're certainly not going to win in Indiana, and you're not going to win tonight. So the challenge tonight, obviously, is to take those kinds of statistics but turn them into touchdowns when you get down and have a chance to score. That's the big challenge for me from that game to this game tonight.
Alexandra, are you surprised at all by the Spartans' performance?
You know, I know that we were concerned about Child's health, and we knew it would be a contributing factor, but to Tim's point, it was, statistically speaking, Child's best game in his career. And I'm not necessarily the sports analyst amongst us three, but when you look at what he was able to achieve, 81% of passes and 0 turnovers. We have struggled with turnovers. So to be able to see us going up against Indiana's defense, 0 turnovers, he had a 64-yard run game to show his dual threat capabilities. That is something to be proud of. So like Tim said, let's ride that at least performance wave to see those turn into touchdowns today, because we're going to need it up against Michigan's strong defense.
Oh, absolutely. But you bring up a good point. I mean, statistically speaking, there wasn't a lot separating Indiana from Michigan State in terms of their quarterback play, other than the final score. But I thought Childs did play well. He played poised. He seems to do a lot better and get better protection when he decides to stay in the pocket just a little bit longer and let his offensive line block for him. And that, Tim, has been one of the biggest differences you've seen on the field is when we bring in our backup quarterback, he likes to stay in the pocket. Milivojevic likes to stay in the pocket and pass, gives his protection a lot longer to protect for him. The problem that I've seen with the Spartans has been Childs likes to tuck it and run, which is great because he's athletic enough to do so.
But he doesn't have that O-line to protect him.
But at that point, the O-line doesn't know where he's headed. You
look at
so that's made it tough for him at times. Already being down a couple guys on the front line as well.
Well, it was their game plan to do whatever they had to do to keep Indiana's offense off the field. So a lot of his passes were short routes to other receivers that they have never thrown the entire year. So they hit 5-yard passes, 6-yard passes, first down, clock running, 5-yard, 6-yard, first down. I mean, he wasn't throwing it down the field because that stops the clock, and more often than not, he's inaccurate on those throws. So what they planned to do, I thought they did well. Indiana only had 3 drives in the first half. They scored every time. But when they had the ball once in the first quarter. That's all they had the ball was when they scored, but they had it once in the first quarter. Today against UCLA, they had the ball endless times. My sense is you're going to see more of that tonight because obviously they want to keep Michigan's offense off the field, and to do it, run the clock. From Michigan's standpoint tonight, my sense is this entire week they thought about 2 players, Aiden Childs and Nick Marsh. If they can contain those 2 guys, they're going to win the game. All right? If they don't contain those guys, then it gets dicier because the one thing about, Childs can drive the home team crazy and the road team crazy, but when he is on, I think he's far more dangerous as a runner than he is a passer because he can make broken plays. I'm not convinced Michigan's defense is nearly as good as its reputation. I don't think that for a minute. I think Michigan better keep an eye on him and Marsh, and the rest of it, if they can do that, it'll fall into place. Well, and Childs is the whole key to Michigan State tonight.
I think the USC game echoes that exact point. I mean, they let up almost 300 yards on the road, and kind of forecasting ahead to what I was thinking about later is when you look at them on the road and you look at some of their major losses, I mean, them in Oklahoma, that is exactly what happened. Was to Tim's point, the defense was not as strong as it is hyped up to be. So we have to press into that today.
Now, the problem is they got to play defense.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
The other side of the ball. And my read is Michigan's going to. I think this is a low-scoring game because I don't see Michigan asking Bryce Underwood to win the game.
You don't see it going, 35-18 like they're talking about.
I don't see that.
No,
I
me neither.
Now,
we'll get to the scores
if there are turnovers,
later,
that's one thing. But I see Michigan providing Justice Haynes plays tonight. Run, throw it occasionally. But I don't think they want Underwood to go become a Heisman Trophy candidate in a game like this tonight. Michigan just needs to win this and get out of here because they're still in the running for the playoff. But this is a danger zone for them, no question about it. This is whatever Michigan State's got, they're going to see it tonight. Whatever they got left, they're going to see it.
Speaking of defense, by the way, I did want to give a shout out to Essexville Garber graduate and big man on campus, Alex Van Seerman. It's his birthday today.
It is. Happy birthday from the Lansing Sports Network.
What a great birthday present it would be for big man Alex to lead his front line and into that backfield and introduce themselves nicely, or not so nicely, to Bryce Underwood quite a few times today. This is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, powered by Price Right RV. So it was difficult to find, but I found the Spartan stat of the game brought to you by Chupan Recycling, and it deals with time of possession, Tim and Alexandra. At the end of the game, it was pretty even. MSU 31 minutes, 14 seconds, Indiana 28 and 46. But at the end of the first, it was a lopsided 20-plus minutes of possession for the Spartans, Tim. That reversed itself in the second half, and it showed on the scoreboard. Now, Tim, you mentioned just a little while ago, and you also mentioned last week, that keeping Indiana's offense off the field was key to MSU's success. Again, it seemed to work in the first half, but it goes back to that tale of 2 halves. Michigan State's been fighting that battle all season.
Well, it works if your defense can stop them.
Yeah.
If your defense can't stop them, then all that's going to do, that's why you got a time of possession difference. Indiana didn't have the ball very much because they scored in a hurry. They didn't run 95 yards in 15 plays. They went 70 yards in 4 plays, okay? And they scored the first 4 times they had it. I mean, they never punted. They never came close to punting. But I don't think Michigan is in Indiana's league on both sides of the ball. I think Indiana's defense is better than Michigan. I don't trust Michigan. I just don't trust them.
Right.
In a game like this, this is going to be no easy task. I don't care what State's record is. This is no easy task for them coming in here. I mean, they got to. And I think Sharon Moore is listening to him this week, I think he is very well aware of what he's getting into over here. For all the pressure there is on State, what if Michigan loses?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
What if Michigan loses this game? Because everybody thinks State's lousy. They've lost 4 in a row. They're in last place. What if Michigan loses this game, all right? Because this is he's hired, and if nothing else, to beat Ohio State, and then Michigan State's just an annoyance. Get him out of the way so we can beat Ohio State. What if he loses tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, and that is one of the things that, by the way, thanks to our friends at Shoepan Recycling.
And that is your Spartan stat of the game, presented by Shoepan Recycling. Is leaders in metal and plastic processing at Shoepan. Their commitment to a better world goes beyond recycling.
It sure does. And I will say this, all bets are off now, Tim. I don't care what the records are coming into this game, okay? Because you've got to look at this rivalry, the storied history between these two teams, and kind of look at it and go, okay, yeah, MSU's coming in 3-4, Michigan's riding high at 5-2. That doesn't mean anything to me today.
No, I don't.
They're both 0-0 as far as I'm concerned, and the only thing to look at is what happens the next 60 minutes on the field.
I mean, the rivalry has been fraught with surprises through the years, both ways.
Yeah.
It has been fraught with surprises, both ways. I mean, there are games in Ann Arbor that you just can't believe that's the way it ended, and there are games here you can't believe that that's the way it has ended both ways. I mean, to me, if you count up the best players on either side of the field, Michigan has significantly more better players. But in a one game over here in prime time, and this is their season, this is their Super Bowl, I mean, it's going to I mean, if I'm a Michigan State player today, I'm thinking, for what we've been through, we can salve a lot of wounds and mend a lot of fences if we can beat these guys. And this is not Michigan's best team.
Yeah.
This is not Michigan's best team. I thought their Washington game was way overanalyzed. That was a 7-7 game with 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. Michigan's offense wasn't moving the ball. Washington turned it over 3 times and gave them short fields, and to Michigan's credit, it scored. Now, Justice Haynes didn't play in the game. Mm-hmm. If he plays tonight, it's a factor.
Sure it is.
He's as good a running back as there is in a Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he could have, they dressed him, and then they took his uni off at halftime, and he stood there in his T-shirt, because I think they felt we got to get through this game without him, and we're going to have to win it without him, which they did, to their credit.
Right.
That's why I think tonight, I don't think Michigan's going to have any, I think they're just going to try to block and tackle and win the game that way, which will keep it close.
You're looking at two teams that really need to just leave it all on the field tonight. There needs to be no excuses and nothing left behind. Blood, sweat, tears on that field when we're all said and done tonight, regardless of the outcome. It's going to be a battle. It always is with these two teams. But I'm telling you what, Michigan State's got nothing to lose at this point. It's not reckless abandon. They've got to play under control, but they do need to leave it out there tonight.
I think they will. I mean, I mean that's what you come here to play for, is to play in big games. This is the biggest game. You get this game here once every 2 years. Huge was talking to me yesterday. He says, well, the game, one's got 2 losses and one's got 4. I said, that's true, Bill. But in this community, you only get this once every 2 years.
Yeah.
It's the 2 biggest schools in the state. They're national brands. They've had national prestige. They're on national television. And for these people, this is a big deal to be here and be a part of this.
Do you believe all the hype when people say, Michigan doesn't look at it like a big rivalry?
As long as they win. But if they lose, it's a tremendous hassle.
I think it's BS. I think Michigan State means a lot to both teams, not just Michigan State.
I agree, and I think that there's a certain status that comes into play. And keep in mind, this is Bryce Underwood's first rivalry game, so he doesn't understand necessarily the caliber that you're coming into. This is going to be a loud stadium. It's not just going to be an SEC stadium loud. This is everyone has something in it to win for this game loud.
I got to see him do his thing. To her point, that's true. I mean, on the one hand, he's been in 3 massive arenas now: Oklahoma, Southern Cal, and Nebraska. He won one of them, okay. But I even think, despite those arenas, this is a bigger deal, because this is it's just a bigger deal. I think he's aware of it. He went to Belleville High School, so he's aware. He
knows what
these
a big
guys
game
forever.
is. Yeah.
But that's why I think his teammates have got to help him out. Like I say, I don't think you can just say, well, Bryce will win the game for us. He's our star. He's our big money guy. He'll win the game for us. I think it's more complicated than that. And by the way, Michigan State, whatever it does have left offensively, is going after him. Just like they're going after Childs, too.
Right.
So
they're going to want to get it rolling early for sure.
Break a leg, right?
Well, yeah, figuratively, not literally, hopefully, anyway.
Right.
I know one thing.
Yeah.
The traffic here today is unlike any traffic for any previous game this season.
I'll tell
getting
you what,
over here today was like getting through, Southern Cal's defense. I mean, it was brutal getting over here.
Well, speaking of that, Tim, that's a real good segue. This is why this guy's such a pro, because we're going to get you rolling with the Spartan Tailgate Show traffic and weather report in just a few minutes.
I could say it in one word. Crowded.
Brought to you
At
by
20
Feldman
minutes through
Chevrolet.
GPS.
You are listening to the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV, live on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and 1240 WJIM. Lansing's Big Talker live at Munn Field with the Meyer Fan Fest. And we'll see you in just a few on the other side.
Back now, it's the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV in the remote broadcast booth, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. Here's Tim Staudt, Steve Goff, and Alexandra Jai Wook.
Welcome back to the Lansing Sports Network Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV. I'm Steve Goff, along with the Dean of Sports, Tim Staudt, on the air with you till 6 tonight from the warm and friendly Lansing Sports Network mobile studios. You like that? It's the power of positive thinking. Warm and friendly out here.
I think we bring that.
Okay, I think we do. We bring it.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. I want to thank our friends at Duckett Brothers Distributing for powering the mobile studios. In fact, TJ Duckett, back when he was still TJ, boy, Michigan fans love to hear that name. They sure do. They love TJ's name. Boy, oh boy. I do. I'm a Spartan fan. All right. Hey, listen, I know we're in the middle of a 4-game slide, Tim and Alexandra, but the coach in me wants to talk about the positives, all right? What positives can you find in Michigan State's season at that point? Surely there has to be a handful of things that we can see as fans that gives us hope, as hard as it might seem to find them, Alexandra. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go a little bit off the record here, right? We obviously have to prep for this show, but I think that something really exciting happened this morning. So I don't know if any of our listeners start their day like I do, but I wake up, I got college game day on, and this morning we got a chance to see Armarian Smith actually get featured. As the story. And I was a little bit late to our setup today because I was basically in tears just seeing the coverage, the national coverage that one of our football players that is so deserving got. And I think one of the things that really stood out to me was they actually documented the way that he has to fill in and act as a student, a player, a leader, and a mother and father. And he brings his little sister to practice. He is the one that is taking his younger brothers to school. His other brother plays for East Lansing. It was a absolute tear-jerking story. And for someone as just strong, just to watch him be able to have that coverage was absolutely inspiring. And one of the biggest things that came out of that story at the very end for those that stuck around was that Matt Ishbia is going to be taking care of his family. Through Michigan compliance, they're going to work with him, but he graduates in December, which means, the NIL funding and the support that he gets from the university ends. Mm-hmm. He has a degree in criminal justice, but he's going to be going to the combine. But Matt Ishbia stood up, got wind of the story, and said, hey, I'm going to help out so that you can continue to be the man that you are, stand up for your family, but also have your siblings provided and make sure that they're well taken care of as well. So that was just one thing, again, not necessarily part of the playbook today, but that I think that we should shine a light on, especially as local community members and fans of Michigan State.
That's wonderfully put, Alexandra, and it really gives you pause. And Tim, you've been in this community for quite a while. We just mentioned a few minutes ago Alex's great state race, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit further in depth later on in the show. But it is pretty good to see stories like that about Spartan players helping out in the community and trying to build off of that as something positive coming out of this team.
Well, his story has been well documented, and it is a compelling story, and he's a good guy to begin with, and he's well spoken. Believe me, like they all say, it's a family here. That family will be taken care of, and it'll be more than Matt Ishbia. Now, does that make it any easier? I can't imagine having to go through what that family's going through. No, I can't imagine that in any way. But yes, it's a positive story in a tragic mode, no question about it.
Right.
And there have been other stories like that with athletes over here through the years as well. Some fighting back from injury, other tragedy, illness has been an issue through the years, whether it's coaches or players, whatever it is. And I do think the family atmosphere thing about Michigan State's a big deal. You know, there are a lot of places where schools would be playing with a 3-4 record and be playing their rival, and it'd be kind of a negative thing all the way around, but this is not a negative thing in any way because these people, they love being on this campus. The other thing is what I always get a kick out of too, there's a lot of Michigan people here as well. There are a lot of Michigan fans here walking around with Michigan State people. They all got their maize and blue and green and white on. They all got that on. They're all walking amongst each other. And by the way, when they did open the Meyer Fan Fest here, let's just say the attendance today is going to be rivaling the attendance in the stadium.
I need my spirals to start, getting a little bit better if anyone wants to play.
There got to be a couple thousand people in here already now.
Oh, yeah, it's nuts.
And they just keep pouring in. I mean, when you stop and think about it, I mean, we're a long way from kickoff yet.
Oh, sure.
And some of these people come over here, they tell me at 8 o'clock in the morning with 2 cars, park the car that's got the pass where they want to tailgate, and then they go home. Then they load up and decide how far in advance are we going to be. I mean, you got to be in shape to be a fan. But like I say, this only happens here once.
Party shape.
This only happens here once every 2 years.
Yeah. Well, and it is. It's fun to see.
Oh, look, we got
look at
Pepsi
that.
coming
Come on
over
by.
here. Hey, Pepsi. You look spicy as your soda is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'll take sugar-free.
Leave one of each. Sure,
thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, as a quick visit from our friends at Pepsi.
I want all the caffeine you could possibly get. Thank you
Prop
very
him
much.
up, would you?
Thank you.
He's going to fall asleep.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Pepsi.
So Tim makes a good point, though. You do, how do you? Well, you're closer removed from Michigan State as a student than either one of us are. How do you prep for the tailgating for these games?
Well, now or
No. When you're a student.
So
Or
starting with
you're a
6
fan.
a.m.
Yeah.
Right. There's got to be someone. I lived in a big house with a bunch of girls, so you got to have the hype person. I happily volunteered for that.
I can't imagine you
Gotta
not
get
being the hype person.
Yep, got to get a nice big breakfast in there. You start with some mimosas that gradually turn into, some breakfast shots or cocktails. I don't know what I can say on air.
So,
but
Ani, let me ask you this in true Tim Staudt fashion. I want to really get in depth into this
Okay.
interview.
All right.
So, how, if you're getting up that early and starting that early,
Yes.
how do you maintain the energy level all the way to a nighttime kickoff?
Well, I would say that's subjective to each person. I am fortunate that I kind of emulate the Energizer Bunny in a sense. But if you're not necessarily that person, you rope in a nap. Usually between that 1 and 2 o'clock hour, you squeeze a nap in because the main tailgates as a student during this time happen starting at about 3 o'clock. So you fit your nap in if you're an all-dayer. 1 to 3, you wake up, you get your second win, you're good to go. You're in the student section, you got your keys out. That is how you do it from an Energizer Bunny standpoint. Now, maybe you start a little later. You get some cinnamon rolls in you, get some Conrads.
It sounds like she's got it all figured out, Tim, the energy levels.
Well, I had 2 at Notre Dame, and those are 80,000 crowds, but they only had 7,500 students.
Yeah.
And they live within walking distance of the stadium on a smaller campus. Here, if you're a student, it's key that you don't have to drive to get over here.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, I drove by East Lansing High School getting over here. How far is that? 2 miles at
Yeah,
least?
about 2 miles down.
Packed with people tailgating in there. $20 a car.
Are they
Packed.
they're gonna walk all the way over here?
They've done
2
it
miles?
For years. Yeah, they've done it
geez.
for years.
No,
And
thank you.
I took my secret route to get over here and was back. I had Brock call you. I said, I'm in traffic. I hope I get here on time.
Well, you made
I
it.
mean, the traffic in this thing right now. When I went to school, you just drove over here and parked.
Yeah.
And in those days, you didn't wear apparel. You wore coats and ties to the game. We
Oh.
always wore coats and ties to the game.
Sure.
Like when you were
Like at the SEC.
They're
still doing that.
When you'd fly on airplanes in my day, you wore a coat and tie. Today,
Sure.
I always wondered, they just grease the car and get on a plane? I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me about all that.
Yeah.
But there was no such thing as parking passes. Speaking of Michigan State, tailgating really began with Don Canham at Michigan in 1968 when he became the athletic director. And their attendance was in the neighborhood of 60,000 a game in a 100,000 seat stadium. He wanted to come up with a way in his mind to make it more than just a game, come and go, make it more of and he created tailgating, and look where it is today.
Yeah.
Even in the high schools, there's tailgating.
Yeah, they do. They do it up. This is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV, live at Munn Field at Meyer Fan Fest. Alexandra Jywuk, Steve Goff, and Tim Staudt. And Tim, I wanted to ask you, what is the one big positive you can take away from this season so far?
Well, to come into a game like tonight, at least they've lost throw UCLA out, because in a 12-game season, everybody's going to have a game that they didn't play their best. Michigan's had that, too. They've had a game where, they didn't play their best, but they didn't play their best at Southern Cal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you take the 4 losses they had, throw UCLA out, but I don't think many teams would go to Southern Cal and Nebraska and Indiana and win, okay? And for the most part, they hung in there. But I think it's an easier question to answer after tonight, because, this is what you got a scholarship for. It's what you got recruited for.
Sure.
You got recruited to compete at this level, just like the Michigan players. Mm-hmm. So, you're going to prove your competitive nature as an athlete by how you play tonight. I think one thing, Michigan State hasn't turned the ball over a lot. They haven't had a lot of stupid penalties. I mean, they've managed to. I think in a lot of ways where they've gotten beat is they've just simply got beat by a better team.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
So, that's the intrigue of the game like tonight is how do these two teams go up against each other with increased pressure, because it's worse if we lose than the joy is if we win, if that makes any sense.
Michigan State wins tonight. What does that mean to this team? No, I'm serious.
Well, ironically...
No, I'm just thinking about the state of the campus.
No. Let's not encourage any of that.
No.
Ironically, through history, the week after the Michigan game, for Michigan State teams, win or lose is a natural letdown. They got to go to Minnesota next week, which is a hard place to play, will be a hard game regardless.
Sure.
But you would at least feel better about yourself moving forward. And I think that's where coaching comes into play.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, listening to Sharon Moore this week, I don't think, I think he's worried sick about this game, because he knows, you can't just assume you're going to come in here and win because you're a 2-touchdown favorite. You got to play.
Sure.
All right? And he's got freshmen in his lines. He's got a freshman quarterback. He's got inexperienced players in some areas. So it's not, like I said, this is not the 15-0, 49-0 Michigan team that came in here the last time you saw them, where they just waltzed over Harlan Barnett's team, which was in total disarray. This is a whole different deal. Now, that said, I will be very surprised if this is a one-sided game.
I agree.
I'll be very surprised.
Nothing's going to come easy tonight, but that brings us to our Coors Light, making it look easy play of the game. This one, courtesy of the MSU offense.
3rd and 2 at the 16. Childs will keep it. Runs off right guard. He's still on his feet. He's at the 40. He's at the 45. He's at midfield. Angles to the left sideline. At the 30-yard line of Indiana and pushed out of bounds inside the 20 of the Hoosiers. Heck of a play by Aiden Childs. Jamari Sharp saved a touchdown.
Yeah, a good.
Aiden Childs on his game last Saturday, guys, making plays with his arm, as we said earlier, and his rushing ability. Now, if he plays that way against Michigan, does he give Sparty a fighting chance?
Sure. Yeah, but they got to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, there are a lot of guys that have piled up a lot of impressive stats, either in a loss or we didn't score. So to me, I heard him say after the game, well, the offense played great. No, it didn't. You didn't score. You scored one touchdown, all right? Did you improve over maybe the way some of your numbers were previous? But their game plan was designed for safe play, keep the clock running, and we know we can't just run it again. I mean, after that game, Signetti this week really got on his defense, because he thought his defense was average at best, which it was by their standards.
Sure.
Okay? State was on the field too long. Their defense couldn't get off the field. Well, today, you could see where their defenses worked this week, because UCLA couldn't do a thing with it. Their defense was much better today. Well, the second play of the game was a pick six.
Okay.
Indiana led with 14:41 to go in the first quarter, never had the ball. They picked off the second pass and ran it in, and from there it was chaos.
Yeah.
So he was not. But you're going. 12 games is going to be an up and a down. But I think there's more intrigue in a game like this than there is in any other game, home schedule, no matter what the records are, whether it's Ohio State, Notre Dame, whoever it is. The Michigan game always stands by itself because of the unique situation of both of them coming in,
right,
especially here.
Couldn't agree more with you, Tim. Well, that is our Coors Light, making it look easy play of the game. Coors Light presents to chill or not to chill. Choose chill, choose Coors Light, the life of the party.
Absolutely. So there we have it. Hard to believe we're 2 breaks in already. The sun is shining. It's game day
beautiful.
on
Look at all
Michigan
these
State's
people.
campus.
Can I give you something before you go to break?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick.
You're a DeWitt guy.
I am a DeWitt guy.
No one
Proud.
knows this from Channel 10. Wanted me to tell you that Elliot Larner today,
Yes.
playing for Michigan Tech,
Yep.
ran for 4 touchdowns, passed for another, and led Michigan Tech to a 56-17 win today over Northern Michigan.
The kid is great. He showed it last year with his brother Abram, and Abram's playing on the west side of the state. Elliott's been the backup at Michigan Tech. And from what I've heard, Tim, up in the press box every week, as you know, I'm the voice of the DeWitt football games and stuff out there at the stadium.
You're not done yet.
Not yet. No, we got a couple more games at home, hopefully. Anyway, but the talk up there is he has not been very far from that head coach's side all season long. So it makes great sense that Elliott's having such success up there, filling in now. And now he's QB1 for the time being.
All right.
Excellent. Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Time for another break as the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show rolls along. He's the Dean. I'm Steve. She's Alexandra. And this is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, powered by Price Right RV, live from our studios, courtesy of Duckett Brothers Distributing. Back with more on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and 1240 WJIM. Lansing's Big Talker next.
Back now, it's the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV in the remote broadcast booth, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. Here's Tim Staudt, Steve Goff, and Alexandra Jai-Wook.
Welcome back to the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, brought to you by Price Right RV on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and 1240 WJIM. Lansing's Big Talker, live from Meyer Fan Fest on Munn Field in the mobile studios, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. All right, you two. Today marks the 182nd meeting between Michigan State and the team down the road in a series that began in 1898. Since 1953, the teams have battled for the Paul Bunyan Trophy, which, since 2022, has been in their possession.
I think you meant 118. That's a typo.
Is it a typo?
That's a typo.
What did I say, 118 second?
No, you said 182. It's 118.
That's what I meant, yes. 182nd.
Well, you're
118th meeting. Yes, you are correct.
Well, you've got your game face on and you're excited. And you're drinking Pepsi.
Smart and pretty, I think. Yeah, well, we'll see. Anyway, MSU's first victory came in 1913 in Ann Arbor, courtesy of our friends at Wikipedia. That's where I got those stats. Now, the Spartans' longest run of success against the Wolverines, Tim, was when? Do you know?
Well, Duffy was 10-7-1 against him, against Michigan. He had a run against Michigan. And Michigan was pretty good then. Bump Elliott was the head coach for most of it. The moment it turned was when Bo Schembechler took over in 1969. But Michigan State, that was another classic game where State's a massive underdog. They completely changed their defense, their offense the week of the game, ran the Veer offense, Bo, and that was his Rose Bowl year. Bo's team couldn't handle it, 17-10, massive upset Michigan State win that day at East Lansing in 69. So why do I remember that 56 years later?
Wow. Were you here?
I was right here.
I'll be darned. Were you broadcasting?
I was in school.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was in school working in sports information at the time, and State was struggling. And, you know, and again, it was Bo's first year. And that, you know, that was the year they went to the Rose Bowl because they stunned Ohio State 24-12 in Ann Arbor at the last game. And those are the days that you go to one bowl, the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, that was
and
it.
The Rose Bowl today, and I've, like a lot of others, sad that it has lost the stature that it had to win the Big Ten championship. You played the Pac-12 champ in the Rose Bowl. Obviously, times have changed. But then Bo had a heart attack, a night or two before, and then Jim Young took over, and they got beat by Southern Cal 10-3. But I also remember in that era, nobody passed the ball. Nobody. I mean, they just ran. And but Bo that beat Duffy 70, 71, and 72. Duffy just figured the facilities here couldn't match anybody else in the Big Ten. There was a new president here. John Hanna was gone. And then since then, it's been tough for Michigan State to hang in there on a consistent basis. There have been a few spurts. There always are. D'Antonio had a couple of spurts. But for the most part, it has. Bo was 17-4 against Michigan State. State was glad to see him go.
Well, they sure were. Well, and like you mentioned, Coach D led his team to victory in 7 out of 8 games from 2008 to 2015. From 2016 to 2019, Michigan won 3 out of 4, but the Spartans won the 2020 and 2021 games under new head coach Mel Tucker, and then Michigan won the next 3 from 2022 to 2024. Now, Tim, you've seen the ebbs and flows of this rivalry for many years. Do you have a favorite memory of this rivalry along the way?
Well, I was not in attendance at the game 10 years ago on the punt block. I was not there.
Yeah.
So, I remember where I was. I remember when my wife was furious because with 10 seconds to go, the game's over, and she went outside to do flowers.
Sure.
And I ran downstairs and said, just so you know, State won the game. And didn't believe it. I said, you better come up and watch the post-game show because they won the game.
Yeah.
And so, but I would probably say the one that stands out for a variety of different reasons was the 2001 game with Todd Duckett. I was on the goal line. Well, no, I was actually, that drive started, way back in Michigan, Michigan State's end. The 26-24 1-second game. And Ken Hayward, who's in the Michigan Athletics Hall of Fame, he and I were on the sideline with 2 of our kids. We had 4 sideline passes. So we're behind the Michigan bench. And I can still remember standing about 10 feet from Lloyd Carr, waiting to get him off the field so they'd have to punt it. Michigan can run the clock out. And they got caught with 12 men on the field, which gave Michigan State a first down when the game looked like it was over. And then as they got down near the goal line, but then we get down to the 1 second. I thought the clock expired. Mm-hmm. I thought it expired.
You thought it expired.
I don't run the clock. So on the timeout, on the 1 second left, I turned to Hayward and I said, in about 1 minute, this place is going to be absolutely going crazy for one of them, and the other one's going to be an ultimate despair. And we had to give him a ride home. I had to get out of the way because of all the players, down in that corner.
You had to give Ken Hayward a ride home?
I gave a ride home, and I told the kids, don't say a word, because he thinks the clock expired too. But there have been a lot of games like that. I mean, you can remember the John L. Smith game in Ann Arbor that went 4 overtimes.
Yes.
When Michigan State lost its quarterback, Drew Stanton, had to go with a backup quarterback and should have won the game 3 or 4 times. But then Braylon Edwards, they finally found him and threw it to him, and they won 45-37 in 4 overtimes.
Yeah.
And overtimes were a little bit different than what they are today. I mean, there's been so many games like that. I mean, there have been overtime. What if this game's an overtime game tonight?
That's absolutely a great point.
What if this game's an overtime? Last night there was an overtime game. Cal last night was at Virginia Tech. Cal's a big favorite. But when it gets to overtime for the home team, I just claim, man, the home team's got an advantage. Because somehow, some way, the home team's going to win it over. And there have been overtime games over here. There have been in Ann Arbor as well. There was the 1990 game? I was on the Michigan State sideline there for that when there was the alleged pass interference in the end zone.
Yep.
All right? And Michigan, that was Georgia's team, and he got out of there. I think to this day, George figures it was. But, like Gary Moeller was the coach of Michigan. A lot of those Michigan people just couldn't. I mean, and there's always some classic incident in these games that you cannot predict is going to happen, and it influences the entire night.
Yeah.
It could be the tunnel incident. It could be post-game. I mean, it could be anything. Right? Injury, bad call, bad break, great run, great play. It could be anything.
All bets are off when Michigan and Michigan State tangle. And
which is why it's hard to predict the game, because there's so many things that happen that you don't think are going to happen.
The intangibles. The intangibles are all out there. This is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV. Boy, he was longing. He's excited about this, Alexandra. It's that Pepsi.
There is.
What are your favorite memories?
I was in school during the 2015 trouble with the snap, but I'll save that for a little bit down the show.
Uh-huh.
And, I would say my favorite, and not just because he's in town and not just because I dressed to make sure I matched in the uniforms today, but the last time we wore these uniforms was the last time we won in 2021 when Kenneth Walker had such a phenomenal game.
That was big
made
too.
all
big time.
5 of our touchdowns. 23 carries, and he set a rival for the most rushing catches and most rushing passes against Michigan. He set his stage to be a Heisman Trophy winner. And, you know, for me, I personally just really enjoyed watching Kenneth Walker's career because his father put so much time into actually watching him get trained up. He was involved in his coaching style. He was a leader on the field, which is why I'm such a big advocate for Jordan Hall as well. And just to see that game and the explosion, and that was the last time that we had that win, but that's not just the reason why it was my favorite. It was a absolute record-breaking game for a number of reasons, an eclectic place to be in field.
And as I look out across Munn Field, I actually see a Kenneth Walker jersey right down in my view, like he's in my view.
I see him Thursday through Monday on my fantasy team.
There you go. He's on the fantasy team. Well, listen, my favorite game, especially during the D'Antonio era, was November 2nd, 2013, about 12 years ago. Final score was MSU 29, U of M 6. And what I remember the most, Tim, is watching Devin Gardner get smashed 7 times in the backfield. Michigan State putting up 7 sacks on the day. Shalik Calhoun was in the backfield in his grill. I mean, it was Ed Davis was back there. It was like Devin Gardner didn't know what hit him. And I remember watching the game at Crunchies on campus.
Did you have a bucket?
I did have a bucket, and
bucket?
I was so proud of myself because for the first time in my life.
You finished the bucket.
I actually, in that bar, I said, "Spartans, what is your profession?" And the whole bar went, oh, just like in the movie. And I was like, oh my God, did you see that? I got the whole. It was funny. But no, I remember that game. It was fantastic. Final score 29-6. Just a beautiful game. Connor Cook had a great game. I mean, it was phenomenal. But my thoughts are this. My favorite audio and my favorite call came when there was some trouble with the snap.
10 seconds left. Let me tell you, folks, nobody is deep. Spartans coming after him. Bad snap. Bobble. Scooped up. Here come the Spartans. Down the sideline. Racing into the end zone.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Into the end zone is Jalen Watts Jackson. Touchdown, MSU.
Touchdown.
Folks, no flags. The Spartans
Oh my God.
piling on each other in the end zone. It's over. The Spartans win again. The Spartans win again.
Ah, yes, the trouble with the snap play. Woo! That shows you that that game is 60 minutes long.
That was a
not
time.
59 minutes and 54 seconds.
A time to live in Cedar Village, let me tell you.
I can imagine it was hot and amazing.
Fiery, I think, would be a good word.
Would be.
But we don't encourage that.
No. Michigan is favored today, Tim, but MSU's season isn't over. They've got a chip on their shoulder as well as they begin the race to finish this season and hopefully get to a bowl. When these two teams meet, records don't matter, and as we've seen, anything is possible. Do you believe that the season for Michigan State begins now?
Well, I mean, they can't replay the first 7 games.
Right?
So I guess it's a 5-game season now. I mean, you can't.
But I mean, in their heads as a team, they have to reset at this point and just think of themselves as, hey, we got a clean slate. Now we just got to win another 3 games.
Well, in our office, there's mixed opinion about that because some of our guys are over around the team more than I am, and they're dubious. I mean, they're dubious. I mean, they're the bigger thing is, to me, is if they lose, what are they going to be like the last third of the season for the final 4 games? Because you can make a case that they could be an underdog in all 4.
Sure.
Including Maryland and Ford Field at the end of the year, depending on how this plays out. I think that goes player to player. I don't think teams necessarily all think exactly the same way. I think some players think differently than others. There have to be some with frustrated they're not playing more. There have to be others that are playing that are frustrated with the way they play. There got to be some that are frustrated that I think I'm playing well and we're losing. I mean, that goes with every team, I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, for me to sit here and tell you this is what I think, I don't know what Aiden Childs is thinking. I don't know what he's thinking tonight. Does he have confidence that they're going to play well tonight? He knows he's on national television. He's on NBC tonight. The whole storyline, nationally, the whole storyline is the Michigan State coach in trouble.
Yeah.
That's what the storyline's going to be going in. Now, and he's going to be on camera a great deal of the time. Childs and Jonathan Smith are going to be on camera. And what is said, underneath those pictures, stay tuned.
You've been around enough coaches to see this over and over again through the good times and the bad times. What do you think the coach's awareness factor is?
I think he's well aware. Look, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if Michigan State makes some kind of a knee-jerk move in this regard before the end of the season, although it has happened here, and obviously it's happened at 11 other schools going into tomorrow. I think he can still make a case for his future. If they're in this game, they play as hard as they can. They don't give it away. But if it's like a UCLA game, the problem isn't going to be with you and me and his bosses. The problem is going to be with these people.
Yeah.
Because these people, these are expensive games. There's a lot invested in them. There's a lot of pride in it. I mean, everybody wants to win. It's the nature of the beast, right? And I think if I was Jonathan Smith's best friend, I'd say to him, you got to show some emotion, man. You got to get into it. Even if that's not your personality, if you were 7-0, you can do anything you want to do. But you're not 7-0, and you got doubters out there. So you got to, in my opinion as a friend, you got to show that you're scrapping and clawing for your team and the university. Now, that's not his personality, and everybody likes the guy who's met him. He's a very nice guy. But, again, he isn't 7-0. So what are you going to do to show the doubters that you're in there scrapping and clawing like guys like Saban and others of his ilk, and like Kurt Cignetti at Indiana are in there. He's on a sideline today up by 40 points, going up and down and going after this official and that official. But every time you see Smith on camera, you don't see any emotion.
No.
Like I say, if you're 7-0, you can do anything you want to do because it works. So I think that'll be interesting. Now, I won't be hearing the audio because where I am, it's just the video, but. I'll be curious to see what is NBC's storyline going to be on this for Michigan State. This is a last place team, and America cannot shake the fact that UCLA came in here and trampled them on homecoming. America's storyline on Michigan State, they can't get past that. Plus, they're always on TV. They were on TV in prime time on the West Coast with Southern Cal. They were on with Indiana on national TV and got blown. So what's the storyline all the time with them? So tonight, change the narrative. You're on NBC tonight, change the narrative.
Alexandra, anything to add? Icing on the cake?
I think Tim said it all.
I would agree. Fired up over there. I'm telling you, it's that Pepsi. This is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show presented by Price Right RV on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and 1240 WJIM, Lansing's Big Talker. Kickoff takes place at 7:30. We're here till 6. Back to kickoff hour number 2 of the show from the Lansing Sports Network mobile studios, here in our studios, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. Next.
Back now, it's the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV in the remote broadcast booth, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. Here's Tim Staudt, Steve Goff, and Alexandra Jaiwook.
Welcome back to the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, powered by Price Right RV here on the Lansing Sports Network, Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and 1240 WJIM, Lansing's Big Talker. I'm Steve Goff, along with Tim Staudt and the lovely and talented Alexandra Jaiwook. Brock Palmbush and engineer Tim tag teaming to keep us on the air. And we're live from our studios, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing at Meyer Fan Fest across from Spartan Stadium. This place is hopping. I hope to see you out here as well. Stop by and see us. We got footballs and we got all kinds of shenanigans out here. They got
sassy fans
asking Alexandra to take pictures of them and then being rude. All right, anyways.
How many of the 75,000 fans in the stadium tonight will be Michigan fans? You want to take a guess?
Are we talking percentage-wise?
Well, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll go 65-35.
Of
65 home.
That sounds a little bit more Michigan fans than I would guess, but I don't know.
You don't think they're going to travel? You think they just think it's
I think
the issue is getting tickets.
Oh.
The issue is getting tickets because, the the former rule used to be every school that came into a Big Ten game got 5,000 tickets. I remember the days when.
Yeah, but you can buy them on. So I was just
Well,
looking
the
earlier.
world, yes, you can.
Right, I was just looking earlier to see
Yeah.
how much they were, just out of curiosity.
So there's going to be more than 5,000 Michigan fans here, no question about it. In fact, Alexander nearly got assaulted by a Michigan fan. I was hoping she'd start an incident, then we'd have a new storyline.
Oh, jeez, Tim.
Then we'd
Always
go
looking for the
then
story.
we'd go bail her out, and then she could still go to the game.
Please take a football, young lady. Feel free. There you
Go.
go. Go green. All right.
But it used to be, the bands would sit on the field. Now that band's probably going to be up on the upper reaches of the upper deck where State will be next year in Ann Arbor.
Absolutely.
They stick them nowhere near the place. And it used to be the 5,000 tickets were right behind the visiting team's bench. Now they spread them out because they don't want anything concentrated. They want to make it as big a home advantage. But for the Michigan State game, when it's in Ann Arbor, you see little splashes of green everywhere. And when it's here, you see little splashes of blue everywhere.
Do you think 20% is too high?
I don't know, you guys.
15,000
I
Michigan
think that based
fans?
off of looking at photos from 2 years
I would say
ago.
probably in the neighborhood of 12 to 15,000, something like that. Because to Alexander's point.
I guess I'm getting bailed out.
So that's
No,
20%.
Well, no, because like her point is now there's a secondary market world where
True.
you can go to anything depending on what you're willing to pay. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and also you look at 2 years ago when they were here, and the score wasn't necessarily favorable, but there is a substantial amount on the visitor. All right, hey, we're looking on the positive side, but there's
Bright
a
side.
substantial.
Mr. Brightside.
tell you
Right.
what, let's just say
Hey.
that was a rough fourth quarter in the stands.
It sure
It
was.
was like Ann Arbor West in the stands in the fourth quarter. And if you remember, Harbaugh kind of threw one more in there to make it 49 instead of 42.
Oh, that sounds like a very Harbaugh'ian thing to do.
But you know what? That was when
you're
Michigan
cheater.
State was in disarray. That was the Tucker issue, okay? So that whole season was a washout.
It was.
So
It was,
maybe
but-
the law of averages. If Michigan's won 3 in a row. Does that mean it's Michigan State's turn tonight just on the law of averages?
Well, a few minutes ago, I saw our friends from Ohana, Asian American sushi restaurant and bar, tooling around in their vehicle, their little cart.
Oh, yep, they're
Yep.
running back and forth all
Yep.
the time.
They have their tent set up, and they are our sponsors this season of our offensive and defensive keys to the game. And today it's fueled by Ohana Asian American Sushi Restaurant and Bar. Let's start with the offensive keys, Tim. What things does Sparty need to do to take control of today's matchup?
Well, I think if they can do exactly what they did against Indiana, so much the better. And then when you get in the red zone, you have got to get something. And that goes along with the fact, look, some things go week to week to week. Don't turn it over. Don't get caught holding. Don't get in. This game usually is just open season for personal fouls. These coaches through the years have always extended these players before the game. You got to play with emotion, but you can't be emotional because, when they let the trash talking go, then guys push and shove, and then there's a flag, and then the second guy in is the guy that gets penalized. I mean, I think that's an issue in this game both ways because some of these guys can't keep their mouth shut traditionally both ways, all right?
True.
I've always wondered through the years why the Big Ten is so negligent with its officials. If this was my call, the head of officials in each locker room before the game with the coaching staffs there, this is how we're going to call this tonight. So if you guys start yakking and talking and pushing and shoving, you're going to get flagged. Does anybody have a question?
Yeah.
Does anybody in the room here
Lay
have
it
a
out.
question? Lay it out now, because if you don't know what we're going to call, so then don't come screaming down a lie, well, they did that, but they don't do that.
Yeah.
But
And
they
they
do
let
in
them.
the NFL.
I mean, I've been on the sidelines for these games, and last week there was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and I thought because some guy said something, I said, in this game over here, these guys are talking after every single play.
Every single
I used
play.
to ask Perlis about that. I said, why do you let those guys get away with that? Remember the day Golston got kicked out of the game? And he's an all-pro who's been in the NFL, but yet it got to him, and he got kicked out of the game. Is that going to happen tonight? What if somebody cheap shots Childs or Bryce Underwood, and we get that, and then we get a skirmish.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, like you asked Brock earlier this week during your show, Is there going to be someone kicked out? Is there going to be a targeting?
Well, I always like to get, like I say, yes or no.
Yeah.
There will be a targeting call tonight that gets a player ejected. Yes or no?
I say yes. There will be.
I say yes. There's no way that there's not this much,
Will there be unsportsmanlike flags? You got to believe it.
Will there be more than one personal foul per team in the game tonight?
Absolutely.
Now, so far, State's kind of been pretty good on that end.
Michigan and Michigan State are two of the least penalized teams in the entire country. That's pretty good. That's discipline.
So is that going to continue tonight?
No, it will not.
I think there's too much history there for that to continue.
Changes. There's Todd right there. There's Todd right there. I like him.
But the classic was, during the week, the Michigan players interviewed says, well, we have to be real sharp about cheap shots and talking because every time we go play these guys, this is what we get.
Look who's just joining us right now.
Here.
Nice to see you,
Hi.
sir.
Say hi.
He's only got a minute. He's only got a minute.
No, I only got a second.
Thank you for stopping by. Hey, thank you very much. And hey, congratulations on another great event the other night, Todd Duckett.
Hey, thank you so much. We're just now leaving the Fan Fest. We were at our Ronald McDonald House tent with Battle for the Houses. We saw y'all over here and just wanted to come over and say hello.
I think the babies want to join the press
I
conference.
know they do.
Like
I got my
Bring 'em on
family
over.
here, my wife.
When you talked to the team this week, what was your message?
When I talk to them, it's private and it's personal. It's about the room. No, it was about the history. And, there were a lot of things I shared, but this isn't a new rivalry. This isn't something that just happened last night. It's not the new hype. This thing is over 100 years deep. And so there's been so many different Spartans that have came through here. And to be able to channel that. And it's not about, when the days of kids growing up wanting to come to school, that's kind of faded a little bit. So you kind of, rosters flip a lot. But culture doesn't flip.
Nope.
Culture is culture. And there's a culture here. There are things here that Michigan State has done, is known for, and who we are. But it's up to the person who chooses to come to Michigan State, who believes in Coach Smith, who wants to actually have Michigan State excel. You have to buy in.
Right.
You have to own it on your own. But you made that choice when you became a Michigan State Spartan and you put on that helmet and you came to the school.
Man.
So that's kind of what I was saying. And, I gave a little bit of my personal history in it. And, I've been a part of this rivalry since I was 8 years old. And I've been a part of it with watching my brother. I've been a part of it playing in it. I've been in it being an alumni in the NFL, celebrating it. And now I'm a father, bringing my kids to the rivalry.
I got to ask you a real quick question. I didn't get a chance to ask it the other night. But here's the question. When I saw you at the Michigan State outdoor hockey game, you had kids on your left and on your right swinging from your arms. You were all about it. What you have done for children with the Ronald McDonald House is amazing. What does the youth of America mean to you?
Everything. They're everything. They especially with the Ronald McDonald House charity, in 2022, our son, so first I started out volunteering there, but in 2022, our son right there, X, was born with an underdeveloped heart, and my wife had to actually stay at the house. And we were in Ann Arbor, and to be able to she couldn't come home, we had other kids, but she could be by his bedside. And there were times when, she didn't even have her mind together. She didn't have her heart together. But the people at Ronald McDonald House, they surrounded her with love. They comforted her. The doctors took care of our son. So the future, in that realm, there's a family today, that found out they're going to utilize the house, that they're going to need to have the house. Their child had some type of situation that they didn't expect, and they are in the darkness now. Mm-hmm. So to be able to help that cause, to be able to help a family who doesn't even know they need to be helped through this space is what this is all about. Right. But also at the same time, to take my life lessons, the things that my family taught me, the things that the Spartan community taught me, the things that the world has taught me, and I can help the next generation take a step forward. There's going to be a lot of adversity, but that's the game.
Todd Duckett, appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
I'm out here.
It's nice to have the more handsome Duckett brothers show up.
Hey, make sure you tell him that again.
I will. I'll say it when Tico shows. I'll let him know.
Thank you.
Todd Duckett. I appreciate him. Boy, it'd be great to have him suit up today. Now, built like a linebacker, speed like a gazelle.
Agreed.
Michigan State classic, Todd Duckett, Tim. And it'd be nice to have somebody like him on the defensive side of the ball for us today, wouldn't it?
Well, number 8 was pretty good.
He sure was.
And they used him a lot. And but he was on his team was a lot like this Michigan State team here. They were struggling, and but they hung in there that night. I mean, I don't know what he told the team this week. That was 4 years ago. Do these guys over here even know who he was?
Oh, they know who he is.
Did they have to get grounded on that? You and I and Alex take that for granted. But you wonder about, especially with the portal and everything else, where all these guys come. Same with the Michigan guys. How many of these guys who play in this game tonight played high school football in the state of Michigan? Not nearly as many as the games used to feature, okay?
Nope. Well, I'll tell you what, offensively and defensively, it's going to take a big game out of both sides of the ball tonight with Michigan State. I want to thank our friends at Ohana Asian American Sushi Restaurant and Bar for Fueled. That's what our highlights are, fueled by Ohana Asian American Sushi Restaurant and Bar. Todd Duckett is fueled by energy. I loved having that energy over here, and what he's done with the Ronald McDonald House and his Battle of the Houses charity has been amazing. Time for a timeout and a traffic and weather update courtesy of Feldman Chevrolet as the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show presented by Price Right RV continues live from Munn Field and Meyer Fan Fest on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and Lansing's Big Talker 1240 WJIM.
Back now, it's the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV in the remote broadcast booth, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. Here's Tim Staudt, Steve Goff, and Alexandra Jaiwook.
Welcome back to the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV. I'm your host, Steve Goff, along with Tim Staudt, Alexandra Jaiwook, and our very special guest right now, Athletic Director Jay Batt. Welcome.
Hey guys, how are we doing today?
We're doing great. It is loud as heck over here, man.
Well, you know what? That's a positive sign that the tailgate at Munn is making progress, and we are rocking and rolling here at the Meyer Fan Fest.
I love what you've done with the place. When you arrived, you really ramped it up over here. Now we have more tents, we have more sponsors, and there's just seemingly more activity this season than before.
Well, that's certainly the goal. As I've said before, game day is the culmination of the year, and it's an awesome time to bring folks together. And so the more we can do around game day, the better.
So you've been around Alabama, Auburn, and Georgia Tech, and this is your first Michigan State game. I'll be curious to even afterward, because to me, 50,000 years here, the setting for this game is different than anything else. Doesn't matter what the records are, because the community, you only get this once every 2 years, as you know.
Right,
you only get
right.
it here only 2 years. I'll be curious to know, because you've been in some great rivalries, as to what this will be after you've seen it for the first time tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm super excited for my first one. At the end of the day, rivalries are part of what make college football, college athletics so great. It's the fan bases being close together, the camaraderie of that today. But make no mistake, this is a big one, and certainly matters a ton to us. And we're excited to go out and have an opportunity really to rewrite this season, and 5 games still to play, so lots of football to go, and this is an important step down that path.
Your peer at Michigan, Ward Manuel, do you know him?
Yes, I know Ward.
Do you ever compare notes or share notes or anything at all? Did you know him before you got here?
Yeah, I've known Ward for a long time. The athletic director community is pretty small, and so known Ward, ton of respect for him. He's done an incredible job, and at a couple of stops, right? He's been an athletic director at a couple of places, and we always compare notes and certainly work together on all sorts of Big Ten issues.
So this is Michigan State, the 4th night game and all that. I remember the past president, Luanna Simon, always shrugged when there was another night game here for all of the logistics and everything else. Do you get used to it after a while? And I would think there is some upside with NBC showing the nation Spartan Stadium and the campus here today at prime time.
There's certainly positives and negatives to a night game. I think this is our 35th night game at Spartan Stadium in history.
Yes.
And I think we've got a pretty good record in those night games.
25-9.
So I'll just take the wins that come with the night games, and we'll take the bad, and we'll just say we work through that. But listen, it's going to be a great night. A lot of opportunity to showcase what makes Michigan State really special. You know, we had a great story on College Game Day this morning. You know, at the end of the day, telling the stories of our young people, our student athletes, but this incredible community is what's great. And the fact that we've got big NBC tonight, there'll be a huge audience for this game, and we look forward to putting our best foot forward.
Have you had a chance to get any impressions on the Big Ten overall since you've now been here and been around the league a little bit, and not just with football, some of the other sports as well?
For sure. I mean, I would say that we lead the country as the strongest league in the country across the board, particularly in our investment in women's and Olympic sports. We lead the country in that. There's nobody that spends more dollars, provides more opportunities than the Big Ten. And, you know, across the football, nobody's stronger. You know, top to bottom, we do a great job. And, you know, week in, week out, it's tough. And so, you know, I've really enjoyed my early trips around the Big Ten, some really incredible environments.
So how will you watch the game tonight? Where will you be?
Well, you know, as you guys know, I don't stand still well, or certainly don't sit. So I'll be all over the place. You know, I usually start and finish on the field and pop around in the middle and find somewhere to watch somewhere along the way.
So before you go, you did a great job, you know, setting up Georgia Tech, and we talked about them being undefeated before we went on air. Talk to me a little bit about what this rivalry looks like compared to what you've experienced at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, you know, certainly the I guess kind of the same there would be the Georgia Tech football game.
Yeah.
You know, we've experienced a lot of different ones there, but you know, I'll be excited to live this one. You know, the Georgia Tech rivalries is a special one, just like the Auburn-Alabama one, the Duke-Carolina in basketball that I've been a part of, and they're all special. You know, I'll be glad to not have the barking.
Well, did you get to attend the Sparty Watch at least?
What's that?
Did you get to attend the Sparty Watch at least?
You know, I went by. I looked. Everything was under control.
Yeah?
Looked very good.
Everything's
so,
safe?
Yes, I go by, you know, early morning, late at night, and there was somebody on watch at all times, so we were in good shape there.
Good. Love
so
to
listen,
hear
you
it.
asked me the other day what's going to be special for this game. Just give it a peek. Everybody needs to be looking skyward between the first and second quarters.
Okay.
So that's all I'll say.
All right.
So,
well, I appreciate you circling back
Yeah,
on
so
that.
a little something to tweak in there, a little something
Okay.
special. So it'll come, you know, lights are going to go out, and so just be paying attention to the sky over the south end of the stadium.
Michigan State Athletic Director Jay Batt, thank you, sir.
Thank
I know
you
you've
so
got a lot of
much.
fans to meet and greet. Thanks for
Absolutely.
swinging by, sir.
All right,
We
go green.
appreciate
Go
you.
white.
Go white.
Athletic Director Jay Batt, we want to thank him for swinging by, and boy, I'll tell you, it's always special to have him here, and we appreciate him doing so. Meyer Fan Fest, we are having a blast today. He brings such energy. I love the energy this man brings, right?
I agree.
And he already ran 4 miles. Ran 4 miles this morning already. Now he's going to go get about 17,000 more steps in the rest of the evening. Well, I want to just.
Before I trip over my mic.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, listen, our friends at Playa Bowls are this season's proud sponsor of our drive of the game. And from last game, I felt that the touchdown drive for Michigan State was the best executed and a great way to make use of their second possession.
3rd and 9 at the 15-yard line of Indiana. Frazier off the right shoulder of Aiden Childs. Shotgun snap to Childs over the middle. Caught by Nick Marsh at the 5. Turns into the end zone. Touchdown, MSU. The Spartans put 6 on the board against the Hoosiers here in Bloomington.
Thanks to George Blaha and the Spartan Media Network. 12 plays, 8 minutes, 18 seconds, 75 yards, a 15-yard touchdown pass from Aiden Childs to Nick Marsh. That was our drive of the game, presented by Playa Bowls. Playa Bowls, grab your friends and dive into Playa Bowls where the beach meets the bowl. A well-rounded couple of drives to start the game, Alexandra.
Yeah.
MSU's problem all season has been playing that same way in the second halves that they have in the first. If MSU sustains this movement and control of the ball for the whole game, what do you think that says? Gives them a puncher's chance, perhaps, against Michigan?
Listen, Steve, rivalry games have wrinkles. And if we can create a ton of plays to lengthen time of possession and keep Michigan offense off the field, we have that opportunity. This is, again, the first rivalry game for Bryce Underwood to actually play in. We have a home advantage, and oh my gosh, is it loud. I can hardly hear
it is
what
so
segment
loud.
we're in. So that being said, we have a loud team. We've seen how they play with loud fans with USC and Oklahoma. We got to keep that momentum going. And again, press into the fact this is not a perfect game. There is wrinkles. If we can force them to have penalties, if we can force them to turn over the ball, we have that chance.
And you've said it all along, Tim. I mean, there's this game, you throw everything out the window and you start from scratch here. And Alexandra, you were saying last week, Michigan State's got to take advantage of turnovers and mistakes by U of M. Tim, what say you?
Yes, I mean, and they haven't been able to get many other teams to make crucial mistakes that have helped them turn a defeat into a victory. However, in Alexandra's favorite game here in 2021, it was 30-14 Michigan in the third quarter. What I remember, two things about that game, but two Michigan studs. Aiden Hutchinson was blocked in that game.
Yes, he was.
And watching him in that game, I kept wondering, are the Lions really right to take him as high as they took him? Because Michigan State blocked him in that. He was the first guy off the field in the tunnel when it ended.
Yes, he was.
And when it was 30-14, so Ohio State going to come back. It's in the third quarter, and J.J. McCarthy came off the bench and fumbled late in the game after Cade McNamara got knocked out. And I've often wondered, had he just held on to the ball, because Michigan did turn it over. I mean, yes, Kenneth Walker ran for 5 touchdowns, remarkably so, but you got to get the ball to do it. And Michigan turned it over a couple of times there dramatically to allow State. But that's what the game's about.
Yeah.
That's not a one-time only thing where you can't believe the way a game turned around. That's why I think this is a fourth quarter game tonight completely. I just think it's a fourth quarter game. State was down fans were leaving. Where I was, everybody was leaving. It's 30-14. And then three of those runs Walker made, I've seen a lot of great performances, but that one stood out.
I'm sitting here looking at a Kenneth Walker jersey right now for the Seahawks. This little boy in line for the Twitch streaming. So I'd love to see that.
You're all up in that business. Walker the third, yes, number 9.
Going on at FanFest.
All right, listen, time for a timeout and a traffic and weather update courtesy of Feldman Chevrolet. Tim, you want to provide us with that traffic update?
It's really, really crowded.
Foul.
Slow. Slow. Crowded and slow, and it goes for tonight. Getting in here today, I've never seen anything like that in a long time.
But if you get in a Feldman vehicle, it might not be that crowded.
Not bad. Feldman Chevrolet, proud to present our traffic and weather updates next as we are live with the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show presented by Price Right RV, live at Munn Field and Meyer Fan Fest on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and Lansing's Big Talker 1240 WJIM.
Back now, it's the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV in the remote broadcast booth, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. Here's Tim Staudt, Steve Goff, and Alexandra Jaiwook.
Welcome back to the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV. I'm Steve Goff, along with the host of Staudt on Sports, heard daily from 10 to 1, Tim Staudt. Along with the rose between two thorns, the lovely and talented Alexandra Jaiwook, on the air with you till 6 o'clock tonight from the Lansing Sports Network mobile studios, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. And joining us, the president of the Michigan State University, President Kevin Guskiewicz. President, you, just like Jay Batt, you are everywhere lately.
Absolutely. Not a better day to be everywhere around this campus. It's a lot of energy. I've been out on a couple walks around campus, meeting with the alums and students, and so I didn't get to see the players march in today because we were tied up in another event, but it's a great day to be a Spartan, a lot of energy on campus.
How many steps do you put in on a daily basis? The world wants to know.
I think I'm one of the few people that don't track it. I have a pretty standard watch here. It's a nice one,
Your
though.
Shinola,
it has
right?
That Spartan
green
helmet logo, so it doesn't track my steps.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It'd probably be off the charts, but it's great to see you everywhere that you are.
He just got back from the Upper Peninsula. For the second year in a row, you took, the bus trip to go meet Spartans everywhere, including the Upper Peninsula. I guess it's a good time had by all, right?
Absolutely. We had about 65, 70 faculty and senior leaders on a bus. Traveled almost 1,200 miles out of East Lansing, 13 stops in communities that our students and faculty call home and showcasing this amazing university and some of the important work we're doing to improve the lives of Michiganders.
Now, that was something new that you guys also implemented under your leadership, correct?
Started it last fall. We did a bus tour last fall. We were over more along the coast, along Lake Michigan. In the spring, we did one early May over in the Metro Detroit area, and this was the third one.
Okay.
So, your staff tells me we have 1,400 Upper Peninsula students at Michigan State and 50,000 alumni.
We do, and I hope we have next year the number of applicants we hope to increase because of that. We had a chance to meet with a lot of within those communities' parents, and we need to get more Youpers, as they call them, down here to East Lansing. So that was part of our goal.
So when Michigan and Michigan State play athletically, the competition speaks for itself. But the universities do have some things in common that they work together with, correct?
Absolutely. In fact, there was an article in the Detroit News the other day about one of my former students from UNC, Steve Broglie, that runs their concussion program there. And I helped Steve land that job about 12, 13 years ago. And as I said in that article, that there's 12 to 15 days out of the year that we're competing, like today.
Yeah.
Whether and it's not just in football, but I said the other 350 days of the year, we are proud partners with the University of Michigan, and the state of Michigan should be proud, feel good about having two leading research universities that partner well to solve the grand challenges of our time.
What about Alex's great state race? We saw you yesterday at the Assembly Hall, and you're a big part of that, and speaking to ROTC members from both U of M and Michigan State. Tell me about that.
Well, it was that was a special event, and fortunately, Jay Batt and I, we only had to run the last 2 miles. They had about 62, the cadets about 62 miles ahead of us. They were kind of tired by the time we picked up the football and ran it here onto campus over to Dem Hall. But what a great tradition. I had a chance to meet Alex Powell's mother. She and her husband flew in from California to be here. 12th year of that amazing event that raises money for cancer research. And if you don't know the story, I mean, Alex was a diehard Spartan his whole life, wanted to come to Michigan State, came as a freshman, developed this rare cancer that could only be treated by a special group of physicians over at U of M's medical center. And so it was, again, just another example of a partnership between two great universities. Our team helped him get through that first year in a really important way, and then sadly we lost him at the end of his freshman year.
It really does a good job of putting perspective into our minds about how, we can, like you mentioned a few minutes ago, we can be mortal enemies for a few days out of the year, but really we do work well together.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you one serious question for my oldest son? My oldest son is the CEO of ARK Invest out of St. Petersburg, Florida. He got one of his degrees at Michigan State. He said, could you ask the president when you visit with him, the Big Ten is considering to partner up with a financial firm, as you know, on a $2.3 billion thing, which I understand has been paused. So from what I see, some of the Big Ten schools are a little bit hesitant about this. What do you think of it, and does Michigan State have a position on this yet?
Yeah, there's still conversations going on around it. There's been some media reports about it. I wouldn't believe everything that you read in those media reports as I've read them. I'm like, well, they got some of it right. but there's still conversations going on, and it's not just in the Big Ten. I think there's conversations like this being had within the other conferences. I mean, private equity as a partner in a way to help generate new revenues to help schools like Michigan State and others thrive in this changing landscape of intercollegiate athletics is going to probably become part of the norm. So, but we're doing it in a very careful way, methodical way, and we'll get to the right place.
And it doesn't look like there's anything on the horizon right around the corner that's going to be decided one way or the other on this? I heard the term paused, but that might be inaccurate too.
Yeah, I mean, I think I anticipate we'll see something soon. But soon can be in
subjective.
18 months
honey,
from now. Or
I'll mow the lawn
soon.
So this is your first Michigan State home football game.
It is.
Your first one. This thing's different from when Michigan's here. I was telling you, I don't care what the records are. This thing is different because this community, like I tell, this community only gets this once every 2 years, and it's two great schools, and now they're together. And there's a lot of Michigan people, and they're all fraternizing with each other. I mean, it's been a great part of my life for a long, long time. I go back all the way to the 50s with this thing. So
No, there's no doubt. I mean, people began talking about this weeks ago, and this is Amy and I, our first time experiencing this. I thought I had gotten up early this morning to take the dogs out, only to see that there were people that were up probably an hour before I was at 7:30, putting tents up on our front lawn to tailgate. So, it was. It's a great day to be a Spartan. Great day to be part of this incredible rivalry, and I feel good about tonight. So
do you run every day or almost every day around campus?
Almost every day. I did not run today, but I got 2 long dog walks in today, and that was more fun than a long run around campus. I got to stop and talk to people, and Amy and I again took in some of the excitement and enthusiasm on campus here, and the dogs met a bunch of new friends, even somewhere in that Block M thing.
we don't know what that is.
They're not sure about the colors. I think they prefer the green and white.
President Kevin Guskiewicz, thanks for stopping by today.
Thank you so much, President.
Go green.
Thank you. Go white.
There you go. All right.
Thanks, Kevin.
Love
Good to
it.
see you.
Love seeing President Guskiewicz and his lovely bride, Amy, stopping by as always. It's so great. Such a great tradition, U of M against Michigan State, and we're just happy to have them stop by to be a part of it. Switching gears real quick, our small business spotlight shines with green and white lights on Uptown Cheapskate, where you can get green and white fits locked in at Uptown Cheapskate in the Hannah Plaza. They're your go-to for pre-loved men and women's athletic and college apparel. The place to go. Trade in your MSU gear for cash on the spot to something even cooler with MSU's logo on it. Whatever you want to find, they've got it there at Uptown Cheapskate. Score 25% more in store credit. This is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show. Also want to shout out our restaurant of the week, Lansing Brewing Company. Both Alexandra and Tim are familiar with the LBC. Me too. It's downtown Lansing near Jackson Field, and for nearly 100 years, they've been the place to go for some amazing craft beers and the best company. Fall is better with a Lansing craft brew. The leaves are falling and the taps are flowing at LBC. Grab your crew, find your seat, and fill your belly at Lansing Brewing Company, the Stadium District in downtown Lansing. Time now for another break as the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show rolls along. He's Tim, she's Alexandra, I'm Steve, and this is the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show presented by Price Right RV in our mobile studios, powered by our friends the Duckett Brothers and Duckett Brothers Distributing. We'll be back with more football stuff on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and 1240 WJIM, Lansing's Big Talker.
Back now, it's the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV in the remote broadcast booth, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. Here's Tim Staudt, Steve Goff, and Alexandra Jaiwook.
We're back on the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show, powered by Price Right RV from our mobile studios, powered by Duckett Brothers Distributing. I'm Steve Goff, and with me is the Dean of Sports, Tim Staudt, Spartan grad and Lansing Sports Network insider, Alexandra Jaiwook.
Time now for GL Wilson Heating and Cooling Spartan Injury Report. GL Wilson Heating and Cooling in Lennox, because comfort
Say
like
that
football.
again? GL who?
GL Wilson Heating and Cooling.
You sounded a little bit southern there, just a little bit there, girl.
You know what? I'm picking up my twang. When Jay Batt was over here, it kind of filled in. But
he does have a cool little accent to him, doesn't he? All right.
Yes.
Well, we are hanging out live, and Alexandra, you're right. It is time for that injury report. Tim Staudt, earlier you mentioned 2 players that Michigan State is happy to have coming back.
Well, Stanton Rumil's coming back to start on the offensive line as an offensive tackle. And look, does he have rust or not? They want him back. He practiced all week. They're excited to have him back. And the safety that they lost, Nikolai, you got his last name, he's back too.
Yep.
So
Nikai Martinez.
Martinez, he's back. And let's just say the secondary can use all they hope it can get. Now, whether these guys are rusty or not, who knows? But they obviously on each side of the ball should be an upgrade from where they have been. So
Michigan State's been able to ride that injury bandwagon, or that injury wagon all year. I wouldn't say it's a good thing, but they've at least survived at times. And now with those 2 players back, I think it will make a little bit of an impact.
Yeah, I'd like to see an absolute lift. But that is your GL Wilson Heating and Cooling Spartan Injury Report. GL Wilson Heating and Cooling in Lennox, because comfort, like football, is best enjoyed when everything runs right.
And it
All right.
appeared that Aiden Childs was not bothered by getting knocked out of the UCLA game. You know, he practiced late in the Indiana week, played, you know, the whole game, and didn't. He had a great game. So it seems that injury was not an issue. And at least going in tonight, one would think it won't be an issue. However, if he gets hit again, is that going to resurrect injuries that have bothered him previously? One thing is Michigan State's got more experience with its second quarterback than Michigan's backup quarterback, for whatever that's worth.
That's my question for you, Tim, is do you think Michigan State, regardless of the injury situation, will play our backup quarterback tonight?
Who knows? I mean, I'm sure they want Childs is their guy, one way or the other. He's their guy. I mean, when he's gone out, it's usually because he's injured. It's not because he's inept. It's usually because he's injured. So, you never know, because there's so many developments that can change player. Injury is the number one reason, of course, why you're changing personnel. And in all these games, guys have been going down. Now, if you assume these guys are going to hit each other as hard as they can hit each other tonight in a rivalry, who's going to get knocked out of the game on either side, even if it's for, you know, less than the entire game? That's always a wild card, and it's always impossible to predict.
Well, Tim, Michigan State is a 13.5-point underdog, last I saw. Your thoughts on tonight's game?
Well, I've said all week my line, Rock can tell you this, my line has been, since the end of the Indiana game, I've tried to come up with every single way possible I could pick Michigan State to win. I probably come up a little bit short. So my one-liner is that the Lovato, the field goal kicker for Michigan, will make one with 2.5 minutes to go, and they'll win it 26-24. I think it'll be a very close game. I don't. In fact, in the pool that we're in, a confidence pool, 1 to 10 points. My 8-point game is Michigan State covering 13.5.
All right, well, if we're going by lines, my
Oh
line,
boy,
like I've
here
said,
we go. Big gambler.
rivalries have wrinkles. So I will also echo, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. That being said, I'm going 10-17.
10-17. Michigan State?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
You
All right.
changed your mind from earlier in the week
Mine-
when I saw you. No, she's changed
Mine is
her mind.
24-20.
I can't hear you. We're going through a tunnel.
And that's a wrap for the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show presented by Price Right RV. Lots to soak in, and it's almost time for kickoff. Thanks to my co-host, the host of Staudt on Sports, Tim Staudt, Spartan Insider, and Michigan State grad Alexandra Jaiwook. Brock Palmbush rocking the ones and twos behind the glass. Engineer Tim doing yeoman's work with us live, and our social media, by the way. You can find us on Lansing Sports Network on Facebook, YouTube, X, and more. Give us a follow. I'm Steve Goff, and you can join us next week as we get you ready for the team from Minnesota as we hit the road with another edition of the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show presented by Price Right RV. Thanks to our sponsors for making today's show possible.
Thanks to Tailgaters Duncan Sunoco,
Jersey Mike's in Okemos,
Uptown Cheapskate,
The Nut House,
AC Hotels by Marriott,
Lansing Brewing Company,
Carpet Studios Flooring America,
Harrison Roadhouse,
Coors Light,
Grossbeck Golf Course,
Ohana Asian American Sushi Restaurant and Bar,
Duckett Brothers Distributing,
Pliables,
Shoepan Recycling,
GL Wilson Heating, Cooling, and Lennox,
and Feldman Chevrolet. And now stay tuned on the Lansing Sports Network, Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ and 1240 WJIM, Lansing's Big Talker for the Spartan Media Network's pregame coverage of MSU live, local, and late breaking at Spartan Stadium. We'll take you all the way up to kickoff at 7:30 with George Blaha on play-by-play, along with J.U. Kalkrick. Until next time, for all of us at the Lansing Sports Network Tailgate Show, presented by Price Right RV, go green!
Go White, Steve!